In the DDD context, the aggregates are one of the most tricky and least well understood patterns. Aggregates are a group of associated objects which are considered as a one unit. Basically, an aggregate is an entity. We call it root entity, and that root entity is composed of other entities and value objects. Aggregates have a well-defined boundary. It only cares about integrity and responsibility of the objects inside the aggregate. It doesn't care about external objects. Aggregates protect internal objects from outside world. They have the responsibility to access or modify the state of those entities and value objects that are in its boundary, and they also should ensure that outside objects can hold reference only to the root object. Since other objects can hold reference only to the root, it means that they cannot directly change the state of the other objects in the aggregate. All they can do is to change the root, or ask the root to perform some actions. Aggregates have the responsibility to protect the integrity of the entities and value objects they have. When an external object asks to the root for the status of an internal object, the root should protect the integrity of the requested object. You can achieve that by passing a copy of the requested object, not the same reference the root has. It is time to check an aggregate example from our domain. Let's do it. Here we have the cart aggregate. As you can see, we are using JPA annotations. You can replace them by the use of XML configuration. We also have here the cart ID as the ID of this aggregate. As you can see, the cart ID is a new type. We created this type with the idea of using it when we want to reference this cart aggregate. We have a reference to a set of cart item entities, and we also have a reference to a customer using the customer ID value object. We have two constructors. The default constructor is needed by JPA frameworks, so we include it. And we also have a constructor with all the properties. It has public visibility, and we use this constructor when we are creating a new cart object in our domain. Here we have the basic behaviors for this aggregate. We can add items to the cart, remove them, clear the cart, update an item quantity, create items, and calculate the total cost and tasks of the products inside the cart. We have created private setter methods. They are used inside the constructors. Here we include all the business validations for each field. You can put all the validations in the constructor or in a validation framework if you don't like the setter strategy. Here we have the methods to get the data from the aggregate. Note that we are protecting the integrity by returning different objects instances and by the creation of an unmodifiable collection. And finally, we have the equals and hash code methods. We override them using the proper ID, in this case the cart ID.